Skyliner in your email, and so just to recognize some of the things that we have going on, we do have Tommy Dickerson, having served 5 years with Rotary. Congratulations to Tommy. Carrie Evans, 3 years. Congratulations to her as well. Also Luke Fier for 2 years. And wedding anniversaries, we do have Laura and Andrew Potts for 6 years. Laura's in the room. Congratulations. Also, John Federo has a birthday, who puts this together for us, and Brian Finnerfrock. So happy birthday to those folks. Also want to make another plug there on the Skyliner. We do have the advertisement once again of the Brody Michael Youth Athletics Fund. Since we are into the spring and the summer sports, please consider giving to that fund so that we can support youth athletics locally and allow those who cannot usually afford to participate to be able to do so. So we have $10,500 so far, and we'd like to grow that over the course of the years. So we do have also sweatshirts that are available that my kids are sporting for you in that picture on the Skyliner. So please take note of that. All right, we have one announcement. Past President Brett.
President Derek, fellow Rotarians, I have two. One, Katie, when is our grant presentation? June 11th, that's right. June 11th is our annual grant presentation. So we do want y'all, as many people to be here as possible. We will have 5 or 6 groups presenting some really great projects that are going on in the county and in the community for you to support. If you can't make it, please be sure to join us on Zoom that day, and I will email out a ballot for everybody so that they can vote on that. But that is one of our great days. We have $10,000 to give away this year. Second, you notice up here is a camera. The club has invested in some new technology in order for us to have a better quality hybrid meetings for our Zoom. This is just a piece of it. There's some more equipment coming over the next week or so, but we need people to run it. So if you would like to volunteer to be on the AV committee, we'll take some turns. We'll learn how to do it. We'll figure out how to work it so we're not blasting your eardrum like we just did with the sound. And if you're on Zoom and you can't hear, there'll be mics, the whole bit. So the district gave us a list down to how many female and male cords to get and where they plug in and the whole bit. So this should be a high quality program, but we need volunteers to help man this. So if you're interested, have that interest and like to serve that way, please let me know as soon as possible, and I will try to learn as quickly as I can so we can share that knowledge with everybody else. So thank you.
I'd like to plug as well that we have 2 computers running. We have a recorder over here, and there's noise over the ceiling. I don't know where that's coming from. And we have people watching, and we have maybe some sound from Doug Stanley, maybe not. So it is really a bit of a mess technologically, and I'm not the one to solve that. So if anybody does have some expertise to help Brett out in this endeavor, I do appreciate it, so that we can have a better presentation for those people online especially. We
do have a YouTube channel for those that don't know, and I was trying to figure out how to stream this live today. I can't. But I will be uploading this to our YouTube channel, the program. So if you'd like to take a look at it again, just Google the Front Row Rotary Club YouTube, and you should find it.
We have 4 people under 20 out there in the audience, so perhaps we'll get some help. President-elect Katie has an announcement.
President Derek, fellow Rotarians, as you saw in my email, next week is the Rotary Scholarship Golf Tournament. We are still looking for whole sponsors so that we can do an event exactly like this next year. So I know the students receiving their scholarships this year are very appreciative of this. So if anybody can, we're looking for the $100 whole sponsors. There's also larger sponsors if you're interested. But see Ken or I, or if you just want to play, it'll be a day just like this. I wrote my order in. And it'll be lots of fun in Shenandoah. So just let me know. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Backpack Buddies, anybody have a happy story for us today. Holly? She's in here watching. Over here. I'm happy to see past President Daniel Pond in the room with us today. He's got a lot of more scruff than we remember him, and his father, Mr. Pond Sr., who may have gone to the Holiday Inn looking for us, I'm not sure. We really appreciate your attendance today. Great to see you.
Listen, I was pleasantly surprised with the parking. It's nice.
That is nice.
I am just happy to be here in person.
I'd just like to let you know that we are having a Memorial Day ceremony again this year, a truncated ceremony down at the county courthouse's lot ground there. And hope you'll be able to make it. It's on Monday, Memorial Day, and we start at noon. And judging by last year, we'll be through about 12:30.
I'm tickled to death that the Washington Nationals finally figured out how to win a game yesterday.
Phil's a fan of us. Anyone else? All right, Holly, the attendance report, please.
We have 42 members, one preparing my first, and I believe we have 9 or 10 9. We have 9 guests, and I assume they'll be introduced shortly.
They will. So I do want to welcome the Pond family. There's 4 members. We have the Kelly family, 3 members, 3 members of the Berry family, and 3 members of the Bates family. Did I get it all right? Nobody's going to question it. All right. We'll move on with our program. Dr. Melvin, please.
It's already been another year. It goes by fast. I can't believe that it's been, this is my 21st one of these that I've done. 21 years. My son was born the year I first started doing this, and he's now a junior in tech. So it went by. So 23rd, 67 students, including almost $200,000. You'll note that jumped $20,000 this year. There's a $20,000 scholarship this year, $5,000 apiece, with some generous help from Pam. Thanks to, of course, parents, always mentioned as being some of the most influential people in our students' lives for the past 22 years. Family, teachers, of course, counselors, and not least sponsors, because that's how we got that $200,000 is the sponsors, the golf tournament. So that's really important. Take a look at all of them. Selection process. It's a little bit unique for how we do it. We've discussed this before. It is a nomination process by a nominator, usually a teacher, who has to rate these students on certain attributes that are of importance to us as Rotarians in terms of service of self, volunteerism, those kinds of things, and leadership. And then they have to do an essay describing how their lives are impacted by the full rate test, what that means to them. And we take all that pretty seriously. And then they have an interview, a very stress-free interview where they come in a room with 4 or 5 of us looking at them, strangers, and asking them kind of searching questions about how they see life and what moral dilemmas have they been in. Some lighthearted questions, but some probing questions as well. And through this process, we've come up with the people that we select to receive these scholarships. So what I'm going to do now is give you a little bit of the theme of how this works and what's happened to all these students. today I've come up with a list that I've been able to contact very recently. Of those 67 students, 25 of them. So it's a pretty good cross-section of what happens to our students when they go out into the world. And I will also say, and in talking to every single one of them, every single year, they all say how much they appreciate the support of Rotary. Everyone. Even 21 years later. They are counselors, teachers, community organizers, writers, nurses, doctors. They do a lot of volunteer work. The only profession that we haven't yet had in 22 years and 67 students are lawyers. I don't know why. I'm not making any judgments or anything, but I have not yet been able to find anyone doing this. All right, so let's start. So Jackie, she's been around the longest. She was one of our first ones, the second one. She thought she was going to go to the FBI and do a forensic, and went to Roanoke College, but she did a little, and we're going to find this is neat, she did a little side job, graphic, and it impacted her. And she decided she was going to the rest of her life working with autistic children. That's what she was going to do. And that's what she's done. She works right now with a learning group out of Northern Virginia and has many autistic clients. She also supervises many counselors and autistic clients using a behavioral analyst way of looking at this. So she is committed. That's with her there is Jim. That's Jim. So does show quite as well. This is Tina Taylor from 2002 on the left. And actually, you may recognize Destiny on the right, her foster daughter, who we will actually come back to. Tina was like the elderly and wanted to own a nursing home eventually. Well, she changed a little bit because she did become a nurse, and she's actually was a non-degree nurse. Now she's working on her BSN. And she likes children in crisis and helping them. So she worked up the ranks. She worked as a nurse at Orange, she worked at Nurse Women Care, she worked at Winchester Medical Center, and then she worked as the one of the psychiatric crisis counselors at Winchester Medical Center that responded to ER when a suicide attempt comes in. And she specializes in pediatrics. And her goal is to eventually be a crisis manager in pediatrics. But right now she's working on her DSM. And she works at Northwestern as crisis manager. Zach Logan, and you may recognize him, one of our middle school teachers. He went in, he was going to go into psychology and criminal justice, but just loved teaching, and that's what he decided to do. So, and he has, he's of course married, and he's on the board now of the Warren County Educational Endowment. Yeah. And this is Sealy. This is Sealy. She is 3. Lisa Thomas, 2003. Lisa, first we think she was going to go into hospitality, hotels and all that. So she did go to Cornell, graduated hospitality, but really became more interested in global affairs and things like that. And eventually went to Harvard Business School as a writer and wrote cases for Harvard Business School. She went and spent time with the U.S. Embassy in Costa Rica. And then in 2015, became married. And 1 week after her marriage, she developed Burkitt's lymphoma, cancer. She went through pretty significant chemotherapy. And since 2015, has been in complete remission. She went to Salt Lake City with her husband. And now they're back in Boston. And she is now a writer for the Bloomberg Harvard City Leadership Initiative and is co-authoring a book with one of their professors. And she also has 2 children. Katie Pahasi she wanted to film it. So she saved her money in high school by working and through college, and then took off and went, after she graduated, took off with the money she had and set up and just got an apartment in Brooklyn and walked the streets and got a film editing job. And right now she's doing freelance film editing in Portland, Maine. She says she's kind of stuck because of COVID. She loves to travel. She quoting me was, she loves to travel. She goes to Europe, she goes to Asia. She said, and she wouldn't show me a new picture, this is an old one. She said, I've been nowhere and done nothing. Jennifer Harris, UVA pre-med. She took some circuitous routes. She went to Entebbe, Africa, and did volunteer work. She went to AmeriCorps in Boston and did volunteer work, and went to an orphanage in Haiti and did volunteer work. Eventually, did graduate from college, and eventually got to BCom in Blacksburg for medical school. And now she's completed her emergency room residency at DC with Richmond, and she is now in her second year as a full-fledged ER doc at one of the level 1 trauma centers in Richmond, working hard, and also having 3 children in the process. Dave Richards, 2004. Dave wanted to go to med school. He was pre-med, but he also wanted to, he majored in also Italian and biochemistry. He went and spent 2 years in inner city DC to teach children and Teach for America in high school. He eventually did graduate from medical school at UVA and finished his pediatric residency at UCLA, and now is in Los Angeles, employed by the Public Health Service, working on the Masters in Public Health, and is actually working with juvenile hall kids and getting them back into society. That's his project. He's going to work there another 2 or 3 years, and he'd like to come back to the East Coast. Rachel Walker. She got a political science degree, a PhD at Purdue, and she actually works for FMG out of Herndon now, and she helps write Defense Department policies for human resources. That's her dog, Arlo. Kathleen Sabatini, Kathleen Howard, is a ballerina, a 3D animator, and she's done a lot. But basically, bottom line is now she lives in Cleveland Park in DC with a great view of DC, and works with her husband on all kinds of 3D animation things and websites, and she does a lot of creative stuff. And one of her projects now is developing their site ineedhelp.com for a free resource to help people in need finding free programs and services based on where they live and what they qualify for. And it is recruiting nonprofits to help with this. Eddie Boyson, 2006. He was going to do chemistry, biochemistry, biology. He was thinking actually pre-med at one point. But he had a side job at TSA and thought, this law enforcement stuff is pretty cool. So he decided instead to get his degree in criminal justice and then go on and become a Capitol policeman. So he became a Capitol policeman. Well, then he decided he really would like to do Secret Service. So this actually was taken when he was on the White House detail for diplomats, and that is at the time, the Canadian Prime Minister's wife. He went on and did the SWAT team for the Secret Service. That was his most recent job. However, as of this month, he is now on the President's personal detail. There he is traveling. He used COVID to travel to see his family across the country. They traveled 3,100 miles, he and his family. There they are. And they even went to Boysenton, Kansas. I don't know if they're related to any of the founders of Boysenton. Elizabeth Bauer, 2007. Wanted to do pharmacy, became a pharmacist, and that's what she's doing. They are now in Vermont because her husband is doing a residency in pathology at Dartmouth. And she's running the pharmacy at the VA there in White River, Vermont. And has a lot of prescriptive authority, actually does an awful lot of prescribing herself to a lot of primary care practices. They are going to be moving to Boston as he has a fellowship at Mass General. Julie Heaton has done a lot of traveling. She was going to be public policy, economics, maybe even into law, but changed her major to religion and traveled the world, went and worked in China for a year as an English instructor. She taught biology in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. She's done whitewater and ranch guiding. She's done all kinds of things. And now she and her husband are in Montana teaching at the University of Montana in Missouri and continuing with their education. I think he's working on a PhD. It's Kara Chamos, Karen McBroom from Newburgh. She became a writer in New York and worked at St. Martin's Press, went to Miami because her husband is located there, and worked for running advertising for major hospital systems, and now is doing freelance work in Miami, writing for a lot of nonprofits. And those are her two dogs. She was hiking in North Carolina last year. Sarah Witt, majored in psychology, and now is getting her PhD at Johns Hopkins in education. And her thing is helping high school students figure out college and their lives through various programs. So that's what she's interested in. And she's in her last year doing her PhD. Nina Richards, I think you'll notice that she's next to someone who's kind of familiar. She's a producer. And at one point was producing for NPR for Morning Edition, which is where that photograph came from. She's now working for a company that makes podcasts as one of their senior producers. So she lives in New York City. Allison Fox, driven. Always wanted to be a large vet, a large animal vet. She is now officially, as of May 10th, a vet. And she likes cows a lot. All the pictures she sends me are mostly cows. And there's where she will be working, a large and small animal veterinarian in Stanton, so she'll be closer to her parents. And she's excited. She's just always wanted to do this, and she made it. Well, Marina thought she'd go into environmental architecture, but again, got a side job, worked a little bit as a paramedic, thought this is really cool stuff. And I'd really like to be a firefighter too. So she became a firefighter paramedic. And she worked in the city of Manassas for a long time. She is going back to school and getting her bachelor's of nursing first. And then wants to get a master's in emergency management, disaster medicine, which she's already actually working on online at Thomas Jefferson University. And wants to work on, eventually on preventive community paramedicine. That's her thing, what she wants to do. Grace Alexander from RNA. Computer geek, really good. She went to Northwestern University, computer sciences, graduated, and Apple hired her. And she is now the leading user research person on the Apple TV Plus team. Lives in San Francisco, which is where that was named her beach there. Sarah Dodge thought she was going to go pre-med. But again, something hit her, some kind of thing where she was doing some photography that she liked, and decided, no, this is what I'll do photography and film. So she went to UCLA and did their film production program. And then she went and worked on a feature film, and she lived in Fiji. working on the feature film Fantasy Island. And then she went to Richmond and worked on Walking Dead Season 8. And now she is freelance video production and editing for major corporations, including MIT, the World Bank. She does photography. She has her own wedding photo company that she does. And then she said, besides that, my day job is that she helped launch a startup, collegeadvisor.com, which was acquired, but which she works. She still runs a good part of it. She manages the copywriters, graphic designers, and video editors. There are 75 employees, 130 plus advisors, and they have helped over 70,000 students. Abigail Wilson went to Virginia Tech in microbiology, public policy, graduated, however, in December 2018 in sociology, really interested in human rights and vulnerable populations, and she actually now is part of a company that I had not heard of called Global Squad, which recruits basketball players from all over the world in high school. It helps them get better at what they do and better at whatever they need to do to get recruited by American universities. Also has now done a big part in terms of domestic work as well, especially programs that they're doing more domestic work. But they recruit for help for a lot of major university students. Richard Murphy went to nursing school and the university. Loves it. And she used to, I think, to finish up. She loves it. She said she went to, she was doing labor and delivery at Winchester and just thought that may be it for her. She really loved doing it. And I mean, she actually will graduate at the end of 2020. There she is. Kaya Folks, 2018, went to engineering, BT Engineering Honors College, mechanical engineering, a minor in national security, foreign affairs. She's working as a research assistant at the Ames Center for National Security and Technology, besides going to school. And in the summer, she works at General Dynamics in Marion. And she was accepted to study abroad through the Presidential Global Scholars Program in Riva Sun, Italy, Switzerland, for next spring. She really looked like that. And her friend Laura Fox has also got the scholarship that year. Is majoring in marketing and management consulting. And next spring, she is going to Lugano, Switzerland this summer. And she really wanted to let Joel know how much she appreciated Rotary support. Leslie Austin, nursing at Radford, loves it. Can't wait to be done. And she's done because she got LFCC credits in high school. She'll be done in December of next year. And probably will go on and become a nurse practitioner, but she wants to get a few years more. Now, Catherine Davenot from last year, this is our, look, this is her RMA last year. She went to Hollins in chemistry, she's pre-med, maybe wants to do dermatology eventually. So RMA, their structure. Hollins, all-girls school, Roanoke, little weird. There she is. RMA, Hollins. Anyway, she loves it there. And her mom said she really fits in. Finally, Jenna Stanley, UVA Public Policy and Leadership. She states that she had a great first year, joined campus ministry, Center College, where she was a student leader, book club, opera group, the Virginia No Tones, and was applying for the School of Education and Human Development, major in elementary education, with a double major in religious studies, and she has really enjoyed her year. All right, on to today. So, our recipients today, I think I'll have Pam come up first to do our first introduction.
Hey everybody, it's good to be back. I've been part of this committee for a few years, and it's very rewarding and very surprising sometimes. And actually, one of my favorite programs during the year is when Bob does his updates on everybody, and to see where everybody's gone, what they've done, what their futures look like. And so, you know, this is one of the most rewarding things that I think is part of Rotary. But today, I'm going to introduce one of the scholarship winners, Mackenzie Bates, and I understand you're called Kenzie. Yeah. Is the daughter of Justin and Avery Bates and will graduate from Warren County High School in June. While at Warren County High School, she's been a member of the Student Government Association, National Honor Society. She's played basketball and successfully completed the CNA Certified Nursing Assistant course, among many other activities. Kinsey is described as a student who works diligently and honestly to accomplish her academic goals. She follows rules, communicates effectively, and shows respect to those around her. She's a genuine person and does not involve herself in the typical, it's more than typical, high school drama, and thrives off being herself. Mackenzie is so very well liked and respected by her peers and staff. She will attend Shenandoah University as a nursing major with the goal of becoming a labor and delivery nurse. Heard that before, right? One of the requirements for the scholarship application is writing an essay on how I live the four-way test in my daily life. Kenzie's essay was an excellent representation of who she is. In answering the question about building goodwill and better friendships, Mackenzie wrote, "Another ideal my family lives by is to pay it forward. If you have a blessing, you share a blessing, and always give more than you receive. Building goodwill isn't just about doing good things for others, though building goodwill isn't just about doing good things for others, though. It's a mindset. Even when I have nothing to tangibly give, I spread goodwill with a smile or a kind gesture such as opening a door. This statement reflects how Kenzie lives her life now and how she will live it as an adult. It's the pleasure of the Rotary Club of Front Royal to award a scholarship in the amount of $5,000 to Kenzie Bates. Congratulations. We look forward to hearing more about your accomplishments as you begin your life after high school. Congratulations.
Why don't you go ahead in person and say some words?
Okay. I'm Mackenzie. I go to Warren County High School. I played basketball there for 5 years. I'm part of SGA and the National Honor Society. Last year I completed the CNA program and I got my CNA license in July. And I plan on going to Shenandoah University to study nursing and hopes to become a labor and delivery nurse.